see, is Martha here? There, yes, Martha Ainsworth is here. Okay.
One, two, three, four, five.
So with Kenny here, let's start. We're going to have a slight change in the agenda because Nancy arranged for Martha Ainsworth to come and tell us about potential bad bill to diminish the value of the bag bill a whole bunch. So let's stick that in. Maybe let's do number 1 and 2 and then have Martha come.
Barbara, before we get too far into the meeting, do we have a quorum?
No.
We do not have a quorum.
We can still start the meeting.
Well, just for the record, there's no quorum yet.
Yeah. Well.
Wait a minute. Bill, Chuck, Nyla, Dave,
Dave,
Mohammed, me, absolutely, way more than a quorum.
Okay.
Okay, so we are an official meeting. Thank you all for coming. Okay, so first we want to greatly welcome Kenny Battle. Do you want to be called Kenny or Kenneth?
Kenny, definitely. Kenny is fine.
Okay, because you introduced yourself to me as Kenny, but your title there says Kenneth. So if you
limitations of these systems, but you know,
all right, you're wearing a tie, so I thought you wanted to be fair.
Yeah, just got home from the office, so. But everyone who's ever worked with me before, I've always gone by Kenny, and that's not going to change. So.
Okay, so Nancy and I had a wonderful meeting with Kenny, and he will be our council liaison. And Kenny, let me introduce you that you can introduce yourself and say a few words, please.
Okay. Well, thank you, everyone. My name is Kenny Battle, and currently am the committee director for the Prince George's County Council's Transportation, Infrastructure, Energy, and Environment Committee. This is my second stint with the council. The first one being many, many years ago. I think when people were referring to Chuck as Charles, we might have been calling you Charles Reniger back then. Not sure, but I, in addition to working with the council in a variety of positions, I've also worked with prior county executives and spent a few years in the private sector as a government relations consultant, otherwise known as a lobbyist. We try not to use that word, but definitely I'm a 50-year resident of Prince George's County, and have enjoyed living here, and I'm not going anywhere. And have a wife and 4 children, 3 sons and a daughter. And my daughter right now is studying abroad in Korea, believe it or not. And so, but that's it. That's me. So that's probably the longest anybody's ever heard me talk.
Kenny, would you mind repeating a bit what you told us when we asked you if the flyers and blurbs coming from DPI are written by DPI or the executive? Because Nancy and I were both lamenting that they are environmentally on a first grade level written.
Well, I think you probably need to let the you said DPI, right? You didn't say DOE.
Oh, I'm sorry. DOE. Sorry.
Okay, well, we can let the DOE folks talk about how their marketing material.
And they've always said that it's required to be done through the county executive's office. But you suggested that there was something else.
No, I think we were talking about how that's done, and it varies from agency to agency. So the folks from DOE can tell you what the arrangement is in their agency. I was saying that there are some agencies who have their own marketing communications unit that does a lot of their own materials, but even in those cases, it has to be approved by the county exec's office, so that
Sure.
everybody's on the same page. But yeah, my comments there were just about different ways that it can be done.
And you had actually then, I believe, suggested to Nancy and me that DOE might be willing to make the SWAC part of such a DOE committee to
Well,
do
I
a
think
draft of such announcements to be then submitted to the county exec.
okay, and I think our conversation there was about the desire to have increased marketing and outreach, and getting the word out, and that DOE, like most agencies and the county exec and the council, always want to try to figure out ways to do a better job of that, and to utilize entities like the SWAC, to help them get their word out and their messaging out. So that was, my recollection of the conversation we were having about that. So I can't imagine that anyone in county government wouldn't want to use the SWAC and entities like it to increase outreach and getting messaging out about programs and grants or whatever it is. I think that's where I was coming from with that part of the conversation. So we talked for a while too. So
Absolutely.
we were drinking coffee too. So I had a opportunity to venture out a little bit. So, but hopefully.
Kenny, Chuck Reniger, welcome aboard.
Thank you, sir.
For those of you that don't know, I've known Mr. Battles for how many years, Kenny?
The years are getting really strange, Chuck. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's more than 25.
Yeah, at least. With respect to what Barbara was talking about, just for your information and edification, we have reached out, and Barbara specifically has reached out on a number of occasions and suggested that the SWAT could provide more assistance on the outreach and the PR and all of that. And we haven't received a favorable response. It's been like, no, we're doing it, and that's why I think Barbara keeps bringing it up.
Got you. Well, I think this, and again, we'll have a chance to figure out who you've been reaching out to, and how that's been going. Now, I can say this categorically: my job here is to assist with regard to communications and all of that with the county council. Okay, and so the folks on the that staff you from DOE, it's their job to do it from the administration side. But I've always been one who is focused on collaboration. Okay, so, and because of course I've been around a long time, so I understand how things have worked in the past, and would always make suggestions about how they can work moving forward. So if there's a way I can assist in making that kind of communication and identify opportunities for the SWAC to to assist, then I'll definitely do that. No question. And I don't remember any circumstances where there were folks in county or state government that didn't want to do a better job. Now, of course, sometimes there are folks that get a little territorial with what they do, but for the most part, I don't see any reason why we can't figure out ways to make the current situation better. So that's my 2 cents, Chuck.
We thank you very, very much, Kenny. We look very much forward to you being our liaison to the council and helping us with all of your knowledge of county government. Okay, anything more for Kenny?
Yeah, this is Jonathan Madagu. I just want to say welcome aboard to Mr. Battle.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Oh, and let me just apologize. It looks like my camera just died on this stupid new computer. So it worked earlier. Hate this computer. At any rate, okay, what planning for additional tours? What did that mean? Do you know, Kevin?
Barbara, based on your discussions in previous meetings, I think you were planning to have additional tours apart from the one that you attended, I think months ago. The facility being managed by the Maryland Environmental Service, the wheelchair, durable medical equipment. So I think you discussed having more tours.
Okay, but there isn't anything in the works that it's a theoretical. We would like.
Yes.
Dave, do you want to say anything about your plans?
Yeah, that would be a good time, I guess, now to just talk about it. First, want to thank Mr. Battle for joining us. I'm really happy he's on board. We're having a tour of the composting organics facility on Tuesday, September 26th, beginning at 10:30. And I sent out a notice to everybody on the commission and some other folks in the area that I think might be interested. I've gotten, right now it looks like we got 4 people attending, but I hope we can get a few more. And especially if the commissioners are interested, I wish you would send me a note that you're going to make it or you can't make it. So we're going to try to get a head count before we come over there, but that would be nice to have you there. It's quite a facility. If you haven't been there before, and we might get a chance to also learn from MES how things are going now that the composting collection in the unincorporated areas of the county is going. So it'd probably be a really interesting tour, and I hope you can attend.
And just my 2 cents, I've done this tour a jillion times. Martha has organized it a million times through Sierra Club. And it is so heartening every time you go, how much more wonderful it is. It's just so heartening what the county is doing with that and how Steve Birchfield is running it. And I'm just so bummed out that I have to be at a symposium all day on Tuesday, so I can't come. And talking about Martha, shall we have now Martha come on and tell us about watering down of bag bills? Hopefully not.
I was going to say I can do that, but would it be appropriate, Barbara, to hear about the Better Bag Bill rollout plan from the DOE people first before I talk about? It's up to you. I can
Sure.
go either way.
Okay, so why don't we do 3A first? Would that be Marilyn or Kevin who is doing that?
I can provide some updates. So the Department of the Environment has posted information about the specifics of the bill on the DOE website. It's accessible to the public now. It has information related to the bill, the coverage and the exceptions, as well as the enforcement mechanism for the bill. Also, it has the public can download materials for dissemination. So it has posters. Posters are available for downloading by the public. But the thing is, there's a proposal by a council member seeking to amend the bill, particularly on the aspect of providing exemption to SNAP and WIC recipients from being charged with the bag, and also exemption for paper bags containing prescriptions, and also paper bags containing foods. So those are the main proposals for being that was presented to the council for amendment. Marlene, you want to add?
Hearing, Kevin, if you have any information on the distribution of reusable bags by the county and how many there might be, what those plans are.
Hi, it's Marilyn. So we do have plans on purchasing reusable bags. We're kind of in a, we will have them available at the upcoming Green Summit that DOE is hosting. As far as the larger order and working with social services to provide bags for the WIC and SNAP recipients, the agency right now has taken a little bit of a pause to see where this amendment to the bill, this new bill that is being sponsored by 3 council members, what direction that's going to go in, because that will certainly change the dynamics of whether or not there's going to be a need for the county to provide those bags or not.
So if that bill doesn't go through, then the county would provide bags to SNAP and WIC recipients?
Yes, that our proposal is that we would be purchasing, the agency would make the purchase for reusable bags so that each WIC and SNAP recipient in Prince George's County would obtain either 1 or 2 bags from the county. And so that order initially was approximately 160,000 bags. And that would be if it were 2 bags. Of course, if it's 1 bag, that number is cut in half.
I will argue that
Yeah,
1 is a very small number to have when you go shopping.
Yeah, as well as in addition to those bags, we also do have plans on purchasing bags that we will give out as giveaways at DOE special events.
Okay.
Let me chime in. Let me chime in here also. I'm a little unnerved because I can't see myself anymore. I don't know why my picture is gone. But just so you know, so my job with the council is again to staff legislative committee, and the bill that's being referred to here is in my committee, and so it is CB 79, and I just got approval a few hours ago that this bill will be on the committee's agenda next week on September the 28th at 10 a.m. And so and as I understand it right now, this is the bill that Council Member Oriata had indicated she was going to sponsor during the discussion of the bag bill that was, recently passed. And so her concern was about, folks lower income being able to pay for paper bags when and for whatever reason she believed that they would not be going the reusable bag route, and they just end up paying every time for the paper bags. And so it looks like the bill is focused on that aspect as it caps the fee at 10 cents. So the language there was at least 10, which would allow it to grow if somebody thought that was necessary. The language in the bill now says a maximum of 10 cents. And then you have all of the attempt to put in language that applies all the exceptions to the charge for paper bags, that reusable bags, add in charges for that. So there's going to be a need for an explanation of legislative intent, and a lot of that is going to happen next week in the.
Can the public testify at that?
Yes, yes. So you can go on to the clerk's website for the clerk of the council and find the bill and sign up to speak and submit
Kenny,
testimony.
where does that fee go? Does that go into the general fund? Does it go into the environmental fund? Does it go into the solid waste fund?
Well, where that fund
I think Martha might be
goes right
covering
now,
that.
yeah.
Right.
Go ahead.
I
Go ahead.
actually
Go ahead,
don't have
Martha.
very much left to say.
No, go. Did I
It
steal your
goes to the
thunder, Martha?
store to buy the bags. It goes to the store because the bags are expensive.
No. So
Yeah.
that was
So the
not
10
supposed to
cents,
be.
whoever
ahead.
you're buying the bags, that's who gets the money. So if they purchase the
There's-
bag for 2 cents, they're making 8 cents on a bag.
The bags
But it's not
cost,
2
paper
cents.
bags cost generally more than 10 cents. If you go to Aldi, you'll see they charge 12 cents for their paper bags. They're much, much more expensive than plastic bags. So
Okay.
10 cents is,
I mean,
yeah.
I have no
There's
reason to question
there's
you,
no
but
gouging in here. This is well tread territory. Moms, their bags depends, they have handles on them. They have
so they in
25
effect
cents.
were eating that cost in the past, and now you're subsidizing them through this fee.
Okay, maybe I should go back to the original. I'm sorry, Kenny, go. You
No,
want to
no,
finish
go
what
right
you were
ahead.
saying?
No, go right ahead. Go right
Okay,
ahead.
well, I was going to talk about this exemption, this CB 79, but since Chuck, nice to meet you, Chuck. We haven't met before.
Really?
I don't think so. The bag, let's just say that there's no such thing as a free bag at any of these stores. They have to purchase the bags. They give them out complimentary at the checkout, but that enters into their overhead, labor, utilities, insurance, rent, all of that is the overhead, and all of that is incorporated in the price of everything you buy. So although people think they're getting something for free, the fact that they don't actually see a price attached to it when they take it leads to them taking so many that they don't even need. And it's a discouragement for people to use a reusable bag. Why would they do that if they can get something free at the checkout, free? But what's happening right now, Chuck, I'm assuming that you might bring reusable bags to the store like I do, probably most of the people on this call, is that all those bags other people are taking, we're all paying for in our bill. So the objective of this bill, of the original Better Bag bill, is to reduce plastic pollution by banning the plastic carryout bags. That's the bags at the point of sale, and to eliminate single-use waste, including paper bags. They're no better for the environment than plastic bags, and to get people to bring their own bag. So the whole objective here is to get people to bring their own bag. And without that charge for the paper bags, people will just take paper bags, and we've seen that. Laurel, the city of Laurel, you might know, banned plastic carryout bags with no charge for paper. The percentage of shoppers using paper bags went from less than 1% to 68%, and you can imagine a huge cost for stores if a plastic bag costs them like a penny, and the paper bags are costing 10, 12, 15 cents each. It's a huge increase in their overhead. So they are now adding this 10 cent minimum charge for paper bags to their bill. That will go into effect on January 1st as well. But let me just go over the main features of the Better Bag bill and the strategy we have on the rollout in all the jurisdictions. I should mention Prince George's County. There's 4 bills in Prince George's County. There's the county bill. There's a College Park bill, which went into effect September 1st. There's one in Greenbelt and one in Laurel that also go into effect January 1st, just like the Better Bag bill. So the main components of the Better Bag bill is it prohibits retailers from providing single-use plastic bags, carryout bags at the point of sale, and they require them to charge and retain at least 10 cents for paper and other reusable carryout bags as an incentive for shoppers to bring their own bag or to not take a bag at all. And you see the effects of a policy like this if you've ever shopped at Aldi, where there are no plastic bags, there are no plastic carryout bags, single-use ones available, and the paper bags now start at 10 to 12 cents, and the reusable bags cost more. And at those stores, we surveyed those stores in 2019, 1,550 observation, 13 stores, Lidl and Aldi in Prince George's County. 48% of the shoppers exit with just the groceries in their cart and they put them in the car. They don't take a bag. And 46% of them bring their own bag. And then another 4 or 5% either buy a paper bag or brought another bag from another store that was plastic, like the old kind. But at any rate, it has a huge impact on people's behavior. And they like the low prices at those places. You might think about Costco too, where they don't even have carryout bags available, and how the prices are so good. So this rollout, the bill was passed in June 20th, and the rollout is underway, as you know, Kevin and Marilyn were saying, especially the purchase of all of these reusable bags. And the whole approach here in terms of the rollout is to get universal participation. We don't want just some people to change their behavior. We want everybody to be able to participate. And that strategy means making sure that everyone is well informed of the policy. And in fact, in the bill, it says you have to have signage at the door and or at the checkout explaining to people that these bags will cost, and that asking them to bring their own bag. And they have to have the means, which is they have to have access to reusable bags. So one of the big unknowns anywhere is how many reusable bags people already have, but they've just been leaving in their cars because they knew they could get a free bag at the checkout. But the strategy in all these bills in Prince George's County, and I should say there are a bunch of other, Anne Arundel County has a bill going to affect the exact same time, the same definitions of reusable bag, and also no exemptions for anyone in Snap and Wick, and in Baltimore County. The whole idea is to make it possible for everyone to participate in this behavior change, which is what we want for the environment. Now, CB 79, as Kenny mentioned, Councilwoman Oriata voted against actually the Better Bag bill, saying she was very concerned about the impact on low-income people and wanted to include an exemption for paying the paper bag charge for people on SNAP, which is like food stamps, and WIC, which is women, infants, and children programs. Now, in theory, if you bring your own bag or you don't take a bag, you're not going to pay anything extra. And that's the theory, is you make everybody able to participate. The bill also, and this was a surprise to us, amends it, as Kenny had said, instead of a minimum charge of 10 cents for other bags, for reusable or for paper bags, the bill caps the charge at 10 cents. Now, we asked her about that in a meeting, and she said she had nothing to do with that part, that the drafters did something there, that wasn't something that she had actually advocated for. So let me just talk about our concerns about this approach. The first point being, if you remove the financial incentive for people to bring your own bag, they will not bring their own bag. Most of them, as we saw in Laurel, most people will just take a bag that's free. And so that means that we won't have the behavior change and the universal participation that we really want in this bill. People learn pretty quickly. I don't remember, at the beginning of COVID, I think I forgot my mask twice going to the grocery store, and I drove all the way back home to get it. And after that, I always had a mask in the car and a mask in my purse and a mask. I mean, I had them everywhere. And I think that people can learn pretty quickly on this. It's worked in many other places in the country. But removing that, exempting some people will definitely lower the extent of reusable bag use. We're concerned about the 10-cent cap on the charge for paper and reusable bags. It could lead, it's on reusable bags too, and you're probably aware that reusable bags can cost between like 75 cents and $6, depending on the quality of the bag. So the way it's written now, the stores would be obligated to charge not more than 10 cents for them. And that just make
So does that mean that the stores would just stop offering reusable bags then,
exactly.
presumably?
We think it would result in reducing the availability. We've had, the availability of reusable bags. Also, remember that there's some stores that are already charging for paper bags. I mentioned Lidl and Aldi, 12 cents. We have Mom's, 25 cents. Big Lots is now, as of last April, that chain is now providing no plastic bags and charging 15 cents. And that pretty much reflects what cost them, the paper bags cost. So they would be obligated to give away, not charge more than 10 cents, but also in like Aldi and Lidl, where the prices are really low, and a lot of low income people frequent them, they will be obligated to give out free paper bags to some of their customers too. So that will probably actually lower the reusable bag rate at those stores. And I guess an even bigger concern here, stepping back from those specific amendments, is the logic or lack. It doesn't make any sense to pass a bill. It was passed in June 20th. And as the rollout is happening and the messaging is happening for that bill, to suddenly change what's in the bill. What we don't even know if there's a problem. Let's see if this rollout plan that embraces universal participation and everybody being able to do this, let's see if it works. And if something doesn't work, then we can fix it afterwards. There may be other things little tweaks that are necessary, but we're very concerned about confusion amongst the retailers and amongst the shoppers. So those are our concerns. And yes, it's on the 28th. Thank you for confirming that, Kenny. We were anticipating that. The TIEE committee, it will be before them. I don't know if the DOE is going to have an opportunity to explain where they are on the rollout. I hope though, Marilyn, I hope we all at the Sierra Club would hope that whether there's an exemption or not, that the county definitely continue to try to get those reusable bags in everyone's hands. That would, I think, just not doing that, just, canceling out the bags would not help them, help convince them to bring them to the store. So at any rate, that's, I don't know if you have any questions, but we want to make you aware of that and our concerns. Kenny, I wanted to also mention there is this line, the part of the bill that talks about charging at least the 10 cents per paper carryout bags has 2 exemptions in it, and it's really only about paper bags in the original bill. And that is, those paper pharmaceutical bag, when you buy something at the pharmacy, they give you something stapled and you take it out. We wanted to make it clear that that's not considered a carryout bag, so you do not charge 10 cents for it. That's what that language is about. This CB 79 says prescriptions in paper or reusable bags. Well, they don't give out reusable bags to put prescriptions in. It was just to clarify that point. And then the other point was, and this was an amendment introduced by by Councilwoman Ivy, the drive-through restaurants, the bags that, paper bags with meals in them, they go through the drive-through window. Those were also exempted from the 10-cent charge. You can think about that as like the packaging of a meal if you want, but those were the only 2 clarifications. Somehow the person who drafted this bill threw reusable bags into that mix. Any reusable bags that you get a meal from in the drive-through, you don't have to charge for that. I don't know of any drive-through that provides reusable bags through the window. So those 2 points are really not necessary, and those are ones that actually Councilwoman Oriata said she had nothing to do with. I think the only part that she was really pushing was the exemption for people getting SNAP and WIC. And I should mention I can just give you this information. There are 4 states that have bans similar to the Better Bag Bill with a charge on other. 4 of them have no exemptions for people on SNAP and WIC. They, the universal participation principle. 2 of them do, California and Washington State. And those are states where the store is basically charging for bags like they charge for everything else, but they have to give them away to people who pay their bills with SNAP and WIC. And then there are 2 states where the charge for paper is actually a tax that goes to the government. They're exempt. People on SNAP and WIC are exempt from paying the tax, but they are not exempt from paying a charge if the store charges for bags, just like it charges for other merchandise. And then, like I said, the other states, Maine, Oregon, Vermont, and Connecticut, do not have any exemptions. And none of the jurisdictions within Maryland, including Montgomery County's bag tax, Howard County's plastic bag tax, and all the other bills that have adopted so far, none of them have an exemption for SNAP and WIC. So this would be the first time in the state that would happen. There were exemptions in the original Baltimore City bill, and they were removed in favor of a universal participation model. And the same for Baltimore County. So that, if you have any questions, otherwise, that concludes what I had to say.
Well, my question is, are you going to provide this? Are you going to submit a letter or something
Absolutely.
for next week? Okay. And I assume
Absolutely.
a lot of what you talked about is going to be in your testimony.
Well, and I'd be glad to chat with you later, Kenny, if you want to hear more. But yeah.
No, I
We'll put
I
that
understand what you're saying. I just want to make sure you were going to submit that, as you always do. So
Absolutely. We're very reliable on submitting things.
yes, ma'am.
And Martha, you're going to be testifying orally also?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Would it
I'll be
help
there.
if we get as many SWAC people as possible to say that we 100% support what you said?
I don't know what the role of SWAC is in terms of
No, but we can talk
endorsing
as
or
individual
not endorsing
citizens.
legislation. But I did want you to know that what some of these concerns were and really what was happening with the amendment.
Yeah.
It comes
What-
from a good place. I think we all have compassion for people who are looking. And I also think that the reusable bag distribution is so important to everybody, not just people on SNAP and WIC, but any other people who aren't on SNAP and WIC who might be low income. I know College Park has handed them out at senior centers, at food banks, their social services. They had a number of they bought a lot of reusable bags to distribute, and we'll see how that works.
Arthur, I have a question for you. This is Dave Brosh. Since some of the local towns, cities are now have these new bills and new processes, it seems like it makes sense to try to get stuff as consistent and as possible, so that you go into one store somewhere and then it's a different story somewhere else. It seems like consistency across the county would really be the best thing, make things a lot less confusing for people and get better results. Would you agree with that?
I think it will be less confusing. Also considering that Anne Arundel County is, immediately adjacent and is going to be rolling out something nearly identical without any exemptions for shoppers. They have other kinds of exemptions, but not for shoppers.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Questions for Martha?
I should you'll be pleased to know that as of January 1st, 49% of the population of Maryland will be in a jurisdiction that has one of these hybrid bills that includes a ban on plastic bags and a charge for other bags, 49%. So thank you for whatever, thank you for having me, and can I listen in on the rest until my next meeting?
Martha and or Kenny, could one of you please write out how we sign up to testify at the 28th? Because I know I've always found it confusing or hard to sign up. If you could,
I'll see.
Oh, Kenny, thank you very much. I'd appreciate that if you give us
what I'll do
great
is
instructions.
Try to get you to the link that you can click on, and it kind of guides you through the process. So, okay, I'll see what I can do.
I appreciate that. Okay, thank you so much, Martha, and everyone for the presentation on the bills. It's very important to get and have straight. Okay, moving right along. We're aiming to be finished at 7. We still have almost 15 minutes. So should we continue with the RRD updates? We had the Better Bag Bill, the A. So the plastic straw ban update, please.
Okay, so so the plastic straw ban, we have discussed this last month. So DOE is continuing with the enforcement of this legislation. We mentioned that we have recycling inspectors doing inspections on a daily basis, and we have documentation of our inspections and re-inspections. So we have a record of what we've visited and what we have revisited to enforce this law. For the compost rollout, so DOE will use the same materials that has been used for the previous rollout. So for the upcoming rollout, the PR materials will more or less be the same to promote the food scrap curbside collection program.
Are these the materials that do not mention greenhouse gases? You eventually made one flyer, I believe, that mentioned methane or greenhouse gas or something, but all the original didn't mention it. So which one is going to be used?
I think there's a material. Yeah, you're right. There's a material that mentions greenhouse gas reduction, Barbara. So
Great.
I think it will be used. Yes. And I think it's in the FAQ material regarding greenhouse gas reduction.
Right. It would be nice if it was way up, because in fact, I bet that, certainly myself, and I bet that an awful lot of environmentalists, if there was no environmental reason for composting, wouldn't do it. It is more of a hassle. So why do it? It's really, I think an awful lot of us are only doing it because of the greenhouse gas thing. So I think it's very important to have that right up front. And the idea that so many of the county residents, as somebody told me, are, they said it in a nicer way, but basically too uneducated to understand that, I think is a real insult to the county residents. And I really think it's very important to have that up front, because that is the main reason one does it.
Right. Yes.
So I would hope that DOE might consider rewriting the blurb that goes out with expanded rollout containers to make the greenhouse gas reduction really up front and center, the reason one is doing this. I mean, the DOE thing blurb says it saves room in the landfill and therefore saves money because you don't have to get a new landfill as quickly. But I don't think that really affects most citizens' thinking very much. Whereas saving the planet and hearing of all the climate disasters. So if there's an easy way to help diffuse the greenhouse gas problems from the landfill, it's just so important. And I really think that 99% of the citizens will fully understand it, and the vast majority would want to help with that if told. But if they're not told, they don't know it. Sorry, I'll get off my soapbox and shut up. But I really feel very strongly about that.
Okay, Barbara. So for the 10-year plan, the draft plan has been submitted to the county executive office first week of September. So I guess it's being reviewed by the Office of Law. And then I think the next step is for the county executive office to endorse it to the county council for deliberation. And I clarified with our legislative liaison about the comment period. It's 14 days, not 10 days. So it's 14 days, Barbara. Not 10 days that I mentioned before.
14 days from when?
From
When does the clock start running?
give me 1 second. From the
When is-
time it, because the county council will also publish it in newspapers.
So it's when they publish it, the 14 days start running?
Let me just check.
Kenny, maybe you can help out here. Once the county council receives the legislation to adopt the 10-year solid waste plan, I'm assuming there's like, typically in the past, there's been a, goes before the county council. And then there's a, this period of time when the public then has to review the plan. It's posted on the county's website. And the 14-day period that Kevin's referring to is the comment period time when the public can send in any, written comments, and or during the next hearing they can provide testimony. And I think so. The question is when does that 14-day period start?
Correct.
Well,
And what's the
there's-
answer?
Okay, so I haven't looked at the solid waste plan process in a minute, so I'll look it up. But I know it's similar to other plans that the council approves, and usually there are two periods for comment. One is before it's transmitted to the council, and then there's another period that allows you to, for public comment once it's transmitted to the council and a public hearing date is scheduled. And so, because usually in our process, we do a public hearing first and then the council adopts it. And so I have to look that up because it's been a minute. The last time the solid waste plan was done, I wasn't here. So I'll look that up and hopefully I'll have an answer for you before we get off this call. But just so you know, I did put in the chat the link to the clerk's office for instructions.
Rather than tying up the time tonight, can you get with Kevin and have Kevin send the information out to the commission members once you research it?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Great, good idea.
And Kenny, just as a FYI, so part of the requirements with the state of Maryland, and which this has already taken place, is there is the draft plan had to be transmitted to Park and Planning, WSSC, and to all of the municipalities for their comments or potential input. So that has already taken place. So I just wanted you to be aware of that we have received back any potential comments or input that those entities have on the draft plan.
And Barbara, correct me if I'm wrong, did we not submit written comments as well?
Certainly, we sent a lot to DOE. We did not, I believe, to the council.
Well, that's what she was talking about. Okay, I just wanted to make sure those comments did go forward to somebody.
Jack, we received SWAC's comments, and we have submitted our responses to Nancy.
That's what I want. I thought so, but I just want that on the record. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, moving on.
Let me just quickly ask, do the SWAC members feel that we should take the comments that we submitted to DOE and send them in as comments to the council?
Well, I guess the answer is, are those the comments you've already sent in? Are they made part of a record, Kevin? You know, is there a
Yes.
record?
But they're already in the record.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
So the council would see them?
If they
yes.
review the record, they should, Barbara.
Okay.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, Kevin, but the comments that SWAC sent in, I think you provided an update back as to the consideration or what parts of that was being updated. So I'm just suggesting that if you don't already have that, some or maybe many of the comments that SWAC submitted to Kevin for the draft may have been addressed. So if it's addressed to your satisfaction, then you might not necessarily have that on the list because it's already been taken care of.
Were any taken care of that we submitted? I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, Kevin.
Sorry, I'll resend our responses. Yes, some of your comments were incorporated in the plan, but I'll resend the document again for your
Great.
review.
Okay.
All right. Moving on, additional RD updates. We had a document shredding event held on September 9, where 125 cars were accommodated and 4.7 tons of old paper documents were collected. And some upcoming events, we have scrap tire events in September and October, and also household waste electronic events in October and November. So I have sent this to you in my email, I think last Monday. And we have the DOA Green Summit on October 21st from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And I will provide the agenda once it is finalized.
Regarding that, the Green Summit, that's also the same day and virtually the same time as the Cleanup Green Up, the deep public works sponsors for all the neighborhoods and that. And it may have a big impact on attendees at your Green Summit if people feel more of a commitment to their neighborhoods than they do to participation in the Green Summit. Can't be two places at once.
That's unfortunate.
It is what it, there's only so many days in a month to do things, but you know, that's what it is.
Kevin, how soon will we be getting the agenda for the Green Summit?
I'll check with our communications team. They're still working on it, David. But I'll get back to you on that.
Thank you. Martha?
Am I allowed to ask a question? I'm not on the commission.
Barbara?
Martha,
Oh.
Martha has her hand up. Why don't you let Martha go?
ask your question.
No, I have a question about the Green Summit. Is there an opportunity to propose a session?
Yeah, yes, Martha,
Okay.
there is.
Or to help organize? Yeah, we were planning to do a session at some point on illegal dumping in the county, and one of our members had already scoped out the speakers and all of that. And we were thinking that that might be one topic that you could include if you wanted to. But I do have a draft proposal on that one. And also, we're very interested in promoting the Better Bag Bill. So who should I
Absolutely.
contact, Marilyn, if you're
Yes,
interested in?
Yes, Linda Lowe.
Okay. Do that. Thank you.
You're welcome. She'll be happy to hear from you.
Thank you for offering to do that, Martha.
Barbara?
Yes, Dave.
Yeah, I'd like to ask the staff, Marilyn and Kevin, 2 quick questions. Since I think we're getting close to running out of time. First, we'd sent a letter to Andrea about the pipeline some time ago, and we haven't got a response. And I'm wondering if that's something the commission will get anytime soon. And second would be let's see. Oh, Kevin had sent us the RFI document, and some of the commissioners have been looking at the document. And would it be okay if we sent you some questions soon that we need answers to?
For the pipeline project, our director, Director Crooms, has been in touch with Office Essential Services Director Jonathan Butler. The project is being managed by the Office Essential Services, and I know she recently sent a follow-up email to Mr. Butler, and we haven't received a response yet. So I will inform Andrea Crooms that you asked again this evening, but she is waiting back to hear from Director Butler from the Office Essential Services. So she's trying to obtain that information or have the project manager from the Office Essential Services reach out directly to SWAC to provide that update. And your second question was the RFI. I believe SWAC had already sent some questions over, but if you have additional questions, feel free to send those to Kevin Serona.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks for coming, Martha. Okay, so let me take a feeling of the people here. It's a smidgen after 7 when theoretically we end, but we had decided if we wanted to go on, we can go until at the very latest 7:30. What do people feel about continuing with the agenda to do like the committee reports?
I'm going to have to run if you continue. This is Chuck. I'm going to have to run if you continue.
Okay. Other people, Bill?
I think we can postpone the rest item on the agenda to the next meeting.
Okay, that's 2. Anybody else want to put in their 2 cents?
Me too. I would like that we stop for today and continue next time.
Okay, so why don't we take that as a 3 out of the people who have voted? And I will say thank you all very, very much for coming. That was an informative session.
Meeting adjourned. Motion.
Second.
Okay, take care, guys.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you
Good
all.
Good night, folks.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
You
Bye-bye.
have a